Hello guys, welcome again in the day 2 of 100 days of UX challenge. Let's start with the first chapter of UX for AI book. Today I have created some slides. I don't want to get in trouble for showing the book thoroughly. So let's summarize the first chapter today. Okay, yeah. So author is saying that 85% of all AI projects fail, and most of this failure are not due to tech side of the things, but mostly UX, research, testing, and process. So if this verticals are not aligned well, then AI projects are likely to fail. And then he showed the first case study. This is really interesting. If you see, um, this is a liquefied natural gas purification process, and if you see this part, this is acid gas removal unit. So the gas actually, natural gas actually inlets from here. So the raw natural gas starts getting into the filtering system from this side, and then the first step is actually to remove the gas, the acid gas. And why they need to remove it? Because if they don't remove the acid from this gas, then it will happen that, so that will lead to corrosion inside the subsequent vessels and everything. So you must have to remove the acid gas from there. And how do they remove this gas removal? So if you see the picture on the right hand side, so it's like boiling a spaghetti, and when you boil spaghetti in a pot, so what happens, it will create some bubbles, and that bubble, if it overflows and spoils into the surface, then you have to really give some effort and time to clean everything. And now just correlate this with this gas removal process. So it's similar to that, okay, where there are bubbles are forming. If it's overflown, then the whole system will be really in will get in a bad shape. So you have to avoid this situation. So um, they actually planned, so there was an expert technician who was looking this process, and he was like there, he was not able to, he was like stopping this from overflowing. That was his job. He was expert, although he was not paid that much, but yeah, he was doing his job. So now this company wanted to replace this person, this expert, with this artificial intelligence. And they thought, okay, let's just replace this person with AI and do our job more easily. But okay, the problem here was, if you see that this person was not costing that much. Okay, that the cost of hiring for this person was not more than getting AI. So this AI was much more costlier than that person. So the what is the learning from that? That this is the first failure. If you can see, if your AI solution costs more than the installed expert, don't just walk away, run. Okay, that's it's a very troublesome situation. Now see the second failure. Uh, See, the avoiding of overboiling is easier, but if you overboil for even a single time, okay, if you have overboiled that particular vessel for a single time, it's 1,000 times higher cost to repair that. It's more cost than this guy's salary for maybe 3 4 years. So just you have to understand that whenever you are seeing any AI application, any AI use case for your product, you have to make sure that person whom you are replacing, uh, you know and that one failure use case when you're going to have with this AI, it should not be like really critical. um, so we have this learning that if the cost of a bad AI guess is catastrophic, just run away. It's not worth your time. Then that's a third failure they saw. See, now this is a metaphor, obviously, that this is your pot, this is my pot. My pot is in a different environment, different situation. Yours in different environment and different situations. You have different temperature, you have different pressure there. You might be sitting on Himalayas, I am sitting near the seaside, so we have different atmospheric pressure. So similar condition also applies to this filtration process. So when you are building an AI, you will get different data from both the plants. Although this company had was making this particular acid gas removal units, but again, like the data they are not able to capture because it's very costlier. So they can't. They have like very few customers, so it's very tough for them to get enough data, and every data in every different plant is very radically different from one another. So what do you learn from this? um, if you do not have the data to train your ML model, or no easy or cheap way to obtain the data, just walk away. And if your solution requires a custom AI model for each installation, just run. Like here, the case was like that only, that you need a custom, data gathering technique for each and every plant, and that's not possible. You will not get enough data if you are just relying on a single particular plant. So yeah, this is like no brainers. You have to understand that you need data. You need reliable data, you need very different kind of data and more data. Then only you can get AI to work correctly. Then the fourth failure was, it makes no difference what questions your AI model is answering, how high. So here see the different mental models of the AI and the person who was operating that the subject, sorry, not the subject matter expert, but that the person, the technician who was operating that vessel not to overboil. Okay, so he was thinking how high can I make my temperature before the risk of boiling is too great. So he is thinking about profit of the company. Okay, he can take risk, but it's, is it worth the risk or not? Because see, the it's something like this, like when you boil spaghetti or noodles, you know that okay, the more you boil, it will be like softer and better, it will be cooked really good. Similar metaphor you can take in this scenario, that where you need to get this acid out of this what do you say, this natural gas. So the more acid you get out through boiling, it's better for you. But what AI was thinking, so given the measurement of the temperature and the pressure at this setting, how long do I have until the next boil over event? So what is the next boil over event? So how long do I have until the next boil over event? So the so it's a completely different way of looking at the problem, right? So how can you arrive at a situation with AI, like you can think like a human while solving this problem? So that's very important. uh, and there was one more thing. The fifth fail was that they didn't do any user research. They were heavily relied on the subject matter expert. So when they hired a subject matter expert, they interviewed him, they asked some questions, and he told them that we have two kind of data you can train your model with. One is the temperature and second is the pressure. Okay, now this subject matter expert, okay, he told everything about like temperature and pressure need to be like this, then you can, and these engineers are smart enough to understand like when it will boil. Okay, um, But when they did user research, when this thing failed and they did user research, they went to the field and they saw that this person who was operating this, he was checking that overflowing by eyes, like naked eyes only, like this whole thing had a visible surface, glass surface. From there they were able to see that, okay, you know this is the exact point it will be overflowing. So it's a no brainer. It's more like any person can pull this off. They just need to be there and observe that. They that subject matter expert, this guy thought that, I mean, that's not so important. Why should I tell this to these guys? I mean, it's okay, like they can manage it without that, and even sensors can't detect that overflowing event at that moment. So yeah, that so see, you easily can overlook these situations if you are just relied on subject matter. So you have to go to the field and see how these people are actually performing this real life roles, the job they are doing. So yeah, that was a really good learning. So if you do not have a well run research program and when you are actually working on an AI project, and you connect directly with your customers, just walk away. You really need to connect with your customers who are going to use your product at the end of the day. And if you cannot conduct even a single in-person on-site interview with your target audience, target customers, just run. So you have to know where your insights are going to be deployed, which person are going to use your product, and what is the environment there like. So see, these are the details we need to know as a designer when we are especially we are working with machines like AI. Then there was another case study. See, this is really fun case study actually to understand. When you know so there is a company he worked with, which was actually getting data from moisture in the soil, and they were trying to solve a problem for farming, for the farmers. So initially um, when they went to the farmers and pitched this product, so they were saying like, we will tell you when to water your crops. And I mean, the farmers who are like working from 3 4 generations, he knows his work, right? So he will get offended like, okay, now you will teach me how to run my business. So this is one thing, that how you put your pitch, how you think about the problem, that is really important in that case. So how they can solve this problem. So when they think from the perspective, like, which is one thing that this that is really bugging this farmer, is not letting him sleep in the night. So if you think from that perspective, then you will find that as a farmer, I want AI to make recommendations about which parts of the field need less water than I'm currently applying, so that I can save water without compromising my optimum yield, thus padding my bottom line and complying with government regulations. So there are some government regulation, you need to use less water. And how can a farmer, without getting any hit in his yield, know that, okay, this much water is enough in this part of the field, okay, I don't need to water that much over there. So that's one of the thing which we can understand from here, that you can actually think from a user's perspective, and like, what actual problem this user have, rather than just teaching him anything about his work. You just understand from his side that how can you help him. Okay, so yeah, that uh, this is the first chapter. He talked about these two case studies, and he mentioned this author actually mentioned about, uh, for UX designers, the main thing is to ask good questions. Okay, we have seen in multiple places, like many of the designers have like force us to think in this way, that you have to think about problems, you have to think about um, what are the good questions, what are the real problems, and then you start solving those problems. So yeah, that's about this book which I have read today. And there is one more article I want to share. This is a beautiful article. It's so this is a great mental models. It's a book series. I think there are 4 books. uh, so this guy has, like, visually elaborated some of the concepts. So let's see that one of the like few of the concepts here he has mentioned in this article. So first is, the map is not the territory. Now just to see, absorb this image. This is theory, this is the practice, the territory, this is the map. Map is where you are. So he has explained over here that the map is not the territory. We use maps every day to help us navigate the world. They reduce complexity to simplicity. Okay, but even the best maps are imperfect. They are reductions of what they represent. This is by design. It's a kind of, map is an abstraction of the territory. Okay, when you are going through Google Maps, it's just showing roads, and now they are showing shops, what is nearby, what kind of shops are there. So this is just an you know abstraction of what you actually see. So because if a map were to represent the territory with perfect fidelity, so if you include each and every detail in a map, then it would no longer be useful to us, because it's chaos altogether. You can't make sense out of that information. Okay. So these mental models are maps that help guide our thinking, and they often allow us to make better decisions more easily. But they lack fidelity and should be used carefully. Okay, the real world is messy. Okay, maps can be helpful, but they are flawed. Hmm. So when you see a map, you just so in the future, whenever you see a map, you just understand this is an abstraction of the real thing. It's just guiding you to see in a particular vision, particular mental model. Okay, you are seeing the maps, you are seeing the these are you are seeing the, maybe the terrain, maybe the environment or everything. So just be make sure. So this mental model we need to have. So whenever someone is guiding you, you just understand this is a map, it's not the territory you might explore after practice. Then the circle of completeness. This is com- sorry this is a circle of competence. So competence is like, there are things we know, there are things we don't know, there are things we know that we don't know, then there are things we don't know that we don't know. So if you see over here, this is your confidence. Okay, within this you have the things you know. So if you see this part, which is slightly grayed out, uh, these are the things you know. Okay, and the outside part is also the things you know. Okay, but you know that you don't know. Okay, but there are some things which are out completely outside of this, and you are not even aware of that. So the so this guy is saying that the last group is the danger zone, that when you don't know about a threat, then it will be like much more dangerous for us. So operate within your circle of competence and outsource the rest. So if you don't know anything about about, within your circle of confidence, just outsource that work. It will be, you will be in a better shape there. Then there is a falsibility. So sometimes, so most of the time we will be like proving things, but okay, this is the thing, this is right, this is how it's done. But sometimes, okay, if you want to test a theory, either physically or test through a thought experiment, there must be conditions where it can be proven wrong. So in scientific proofs and everything, they actually use this falsification theory and just try to disprove a particular theory, and if they are not able to disprove, then that theory is right. So that is also, you can think, when you just don't have to prove everything right, you sometimes it's okay to just disprove something and then get the results. The first principle thinking, so this one is popularized by Elon. Actually, the that rocket example he had given, that to understand a problem, like if you want to build a rocket, you have to understand the parts, the material used in it, and what is the cost of it. So I remember that he told something like, if you want to build a rocket, you have to understand like what parts, which metal is being used, and then that metal will cost something, right? So if whatever the cost of acquiring that whole metal thing, or those ingredients are, you can think from that perspective, that okay, it will cost that much, and then you build your thinking over that okay, now we have to make an engine out of this particular metal, then how much that manufacturing will cost. So you think from the bottom up, so that's called the first principle thinking. Then there is a thought experiment. Okay, so this is a really good example that there are two people. One is a NBA champion LeBron James, and versus filmmaker something something. Okay, so now you know that one is an expert basketball player and second is a filmmaker. So if they play a match, who will win? Obviously the expert one. So you don't have to think that much to understand the result in your brain, because you know that their expertise and everything, it's just a no brainer. So how did you prove that? That was a thought experiment. So this is also mental model. Okay, that to test a new theory, we often need to run a carefully planned experiment. Not all experiments are physical. Some experiments need only an imagination. Okay, uh, so this one was necessity and sufficiency. I was not able to understand that much. What uh, I understand from this is like, uh, so sometimes necessary is like what we need, but what is sufficient for us, and there needs to be a sweet spot in between. If you are not, then maybe you don't have a luck. But yeah, you just read it yourself, you will better understand. I tried to read it like multiple times, but it was not easily explained there. Then the second order thinking, this is the after effects of you do one thing, and then it cascades the effect. So once you have a habit of corner cutting, then you will end up having a ruined reputation. So this is simple, yeah. And then there's a probabilistic thinking. If in doubt, play the odds. uh, then sometimes you see the data in the real world that it's similar, like many places, but it maybe it does not depend each other on it. Okay, so it could be wrong. uh, then this is interesting, like if you are stuck on a problem, just flip it around on itself. So if you see, if you want to make money, then avoid going into debt. You want to be active, then avoid sedentary lifestyle. You want to eat healthy, then avoid unhealthy foods. Then this one is also interesting, Henlon's razor. So whenever you see a situation, anything bad happen to you, there could be like two possibilities. One is like really worse, and one is like okay. That the worst is like they cut me off because they are a bad person. So you are thinking negatively there. And that the second possibility could be like they cut me off because they are running late. So always think in positive direction, that okay, because they are running late, that could be the reason. Oh no, I don't have to go hard and think okay, because they are a bad person. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thanks for your time, and yeah, please comment if you have any feedback, anything you want to see, particularly any book you want to read, any suggestion you want to make. Yeah, Thank you. I'll improve in these videos. I'm just starting out. I have no experience of making YouTube videos and all. I'll be doing some study of making videos more, maybe beautiful or engaging and everything. Yeah, but it will take some time to improve the quality and everything. So, yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks for joining in. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.